So hello, Nika.
Hello, Vanessa. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fabulous.
I'm
Excited.
happy to have you here today with us.
Thank you.
One of the things that I love about you, and this is what I've learned, we met, I would say a couple of years ago through Savor. And one of the things, like, you just seem to be so genuine and authentic. And I think that that has been, that's just always something that, that had grabbed me from the beginning, from when I met you. And I think it's what has enabled you to be so successful in your business. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Well, I actually was, I have to admit, to be authentic with you, I was shocked when you said you wanted to interview me on the topic of authenticity, because that's actually always been a struggle for me. So I'm flattered and honored that you think that about me, because I always feel like I should try to be myself.
And you see, and that's the thing that that's one of the things that I feel a lot of us in life and in business struggle, just to come across as, being genuine and authentic. And sometimes when we're not even thinking about it, like you, for me, to me, you just seem like that's who you are. And I've met you on different circumstances. I've met with you in business settings, and I've met with you at your home, and you continue to be the same Nika. So that, to me, I don't think you need to work much harder on
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well, it makes more sense now what you're saying. I mean, I think it is very true that it used to be years ago when I first started in business, I thought I had to be a certain way for business situations. And then when I was not in business, I could be myself. And what I realized was, because I worked with people in the neighborhood, I would go to the movies, let's say with my husband or boyfriend at the time, and I was being myself, and I'd run into a client, and it was embarrassing because I thought, oh, they are looking at me like I'm a different person. It was stressful because I had to put on an act.
Yeah.
And when I learned not to do that, life becomes so much easier, and business does too. People actually want to work with people,
Well,
not
and
some image.
exactly. And
It's kind of like going on a date with someone and putting on your act. You act like your best self.
yeah.
If that person falls in love with that act, you can't keep it up. So
Yeah.
just be yourself always. Then you don't have to worry. You can just be yourself. Yes, people want to work, and I know some of my clients um, have said this, and I've heard this many times too, that people will say, I'm not even sure exactly what you do in business, but I like you, so I want to work with you. And that's what you want. I mean, and if people don't like you, they won't work with you no matter how good your business is. So be friendly.
That's key, and you hit the nail on the head right there. Because sometimes, we try to become very clear with what our 30-second pitch is when we meet people, or we're very clear on our brands, and of course that's important. But I love how you said, when people approach you that they don't even know what you do, when they're like, they just want to be around you.
Yeah, and we, in my business, we do social media, and I always tell people, because people think, well, if I'm doing Facebook or Twitter for my business, do I ever talk about myself? And I say, absolutely, yes, because that's where, my best clients have come because we connected, like you said, over talking about how difficult it is to get our kids off to school when we have a meeting in the morning,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
And that's how you make warm connections, and you fall in love with people, and you build relationships, and that's how the best business relationships start. So be yourself even in business.
Yeah.
And I have trouble. I can't run a business without adding parts of my personality to it. Like I can't have a very stiff corporate-like business, because that's not me. So I have to add humor and funny pictures and weird videos. That's just who I am. And yes, there's going to be people who are turned off by that, certainly. We would never be happy working together anyway.
Exactly, and that's okay. And that's
Yeah.
okay, because we don't have to be all things to everybody. We're going to weed out the people that really want to work with us and really want to be around us, and who just accept us for who we are.
Yeah, I think you said something that really hit me just now. Being all things to all people is
Yeah.
sometimes what we want. That's, I think, where my struggle has been most of my life. Like, I want to please everybody, but and when you're authentic, you aren't all things to all people. You are the best of you to the people who you should be attracting. And there's so much more joy in that when you can release the need to be all things to all people. There is no perfection, and so we're striving for something that really doesn't exist. So learn to love the parts of you that are amazing, including the imperfections, because that's what makes you who you are, and that's actually what brings people to you. When you can be vulnerable and show your imperfect moments, when you can talk about the struggle, everyone has them, and that's why we all love each other when we can talk about that. If you try to be perfect, you don't attract people to you because nobody can relate. Yeah. So just know that what you're doing is enough, and it's good enough, and just learn to love yourself more, because that's what once you start learning to love yourself more and accept all these things as perfect in their own way, you bring more of that joy to yourself.
Awesome.